welcome back to the Synrgsm podcast. This is your host, Nita J. It has been a minute. I apologize. I think the last time we spoke, I did say I was going to be put on some type of schedule, but of course, I did not do that. So it has been a month, and this is episode, 2? So I apologize, but I'm back. And I am recording from San Juan, Puerto Rico. We came down here. It was kind of a little vacation, little quick getaway, but it was also supposed to serve as a quick mental reset. Of course, for both of us, I know I really, really needed this mental health trip. You ever need like a quick getaway just to hit the reset button on life? That's what this trip was supposed to be. So it definitely has done its job. It's been beautiful here. It's our last night. It's pouring down raining, so of course we can't get out and enjoy the nightlife right now, but that's fine. I just decided to whip out the microphone and I thought I'd record a quick video or a quick podcast. So let's go ahead and do that. So on this episode, I want to talk about the flip side of failing forward. This is something that I have been really, really struggling with. The last episode we talked about how hustle culture really, really has taken a toll on me and my mental health, and trying to work through that, and how toxic the hustle culture can be. And I really, really fell victim to that, and I'm trying to bounce back. But there's other things, other facets that I'm absolutely struggling with. So I want to talk about one of those on this episode. So first, failing forward. So I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. I have been for many, many years. Worked on several different projects, had several different companies. And one of the things they always tell you, hey, you have to fail forward. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure builds character in business. It helps you to, navigate through the tough times in business, all of that good stuff, right? And for the most part, that's absolutely true. But there's a flip side to that, and I think that is what I'm currently dealing with right now. So hopefully, after hearing this, maybe you resonate with this, maybe you can relate to this and say, hey, I'm dealing with that as well, right? So for one, us as humans, it's human nature. We do not like to fail, right? Failure is a very, very hard thing to overcome, a hard thing to deal with. But unfortunately, one of the things as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have to be able to handle failure and be able to bounce back from failure, right? But the thing is, for me and what I'm dealing with right now, it's been very, very hard to bounce back from a couple of business failures that I dealt with in the last couple of years. And I'm going to share those with you on this episode. So for you all who are new to this podcast, new to me, new to my brand, or maybe you're a long-time follower, a long-time listener, I've been in business for myself probably since 2009, 2010. So it's been quite a long time. And in that time, I've had some great successes, lots of things to be proud of, right? I don't take those things for granted. But there are some things that have happened along the journey where it's been super, super hard for me to bounce back. So right now, where I'm at in my journey, I'm actually relaunching two of my companies that I've actually put on hold, the last couple of years due to maybe the pandemic, due to my mental health. I just kind of just stopped them, right? And I said, something has to give, and I just put those things on hold. So those two companies, they were my passion projects. They were things that I enjoyed doing. They were great successes. I didn't fail at them, but what I felt was I failed in the sense that I kind of quit. And I know that doesn't make sense because I didn't quit. The businesses are still there. I just put them on a hiatus. But for me, it felt like I was failing because I was stopping. And it's been very, very hard for me to bounce back from that. And I'll explain. So I'm a perfectionist, right? I'm an overthinker. I suffer with really, really bad anxiety. And I'm just bouncing back from a crazy 2-3 year depression, right? So when you deal with things that a person who aren't dealing with those things, when they go through something, it's like, okay, I failed, it sucks, but I'm going to bounce back from it. But in my mind, you guys, things are magnified times like 1,000. Like, I feel like the worst person in the absolute, like, in the world, right? So it's been hard because I'm like, I have all these thoughts. Hey, if I relaunch this business, will I fail again? How is it going to feel if I fail? How is it going to feel if my audience doesn't receive what I put out into the world again? What's going to happen? I have all of these questions rolling in the back of my mind to the point that it becomes debilitating, where I can't create content. I can't stay on social media consistently. I'm not blogging consistently. I'm not doing the things I know that I need to do to push my businesses forward, because I had that fear of failing, and it's so debilitating that I can't do anything about it. And I'm like in a rut right now. So honestly, this episode is kind of like a diary entry because these are the things I've been feeling like the last few months. So I will say, I spoke about this in my last episode. I did meet a phenomenal guy, and he's been in my life for like most of this year. And he has really, really opened my eyes to a lot of great things and motivated me. And he's that person that's going to be like, listen, you're playing right now. Like, stop playing. Like, you're bullshitting, really. Like, that's like, he's like, it's time to put your game face on. Let's do this. Right. And it's really, really been helpful. And honestly, like, before he and I met, I was still on the fence about launching my companies again, like relaunching. And I spoke to him about it. And he's like, listen, like, let's do it. Like, what do you need to do? Let's put in a plan. Let's get it started. And so I mapped out everything. I launched everything. I have the websites up. I've contacted people. I've reached out to my old contacts, my old clients. And then now it's just like, now what? I'm just kind of stuck, because I'm like, if I go any further, if I step any further from where I'm at right now, it's like scary territory. And it shouldn't be, because I've done this before, right? Like, I've been an entrepreneur for more than a decade. I should know how to handle this. So then it becomes a feeling of guilt. And guilt is something that is really, really hard to get past, especially as an entrepreneur. So dealing with guilt as an entrepreneur is not easy. It's a lot of asking, what if I've done something different? What if I had helped this client a little differently? What if I hadn't done this with my business? So on and so forth, right? And so right now, what I'm dealing with is finding myself asking these questions over and over and over again. I'll now give you guys an example. One of the companies I had launched a couple of years ago, actually it was maybe a year before the pandemic hit, right? I launched a creative agency for makeup artists, photographers, stylists, hairstylists, all that good stuff, right? Folks that work in the beauty and fashion industry, and everything was going well. And I won't go into detail. Maybe I'll put this on my blog, or maybe I'll put a separate episode, or maybe I'll make a bonus track. I don't know. But basically, the business completely failed for a few reasons. But one of the main reasons was I overextended myself. I was struggling with having to outsource to other people and letting other people handle different tasks. I wanted to be superwoman and do everything on my own. And basically the company got way too big, way too fast, and I couldn't handle it, to the point where I wasn't serving my artists the right way, the way they needed to be helped out, right? So I felt extremely guilty about that at the time. And now that I'm relaunching that company, I'm having to deal with that same guilt again and wondering, oh my gosh, what if this fails again? Like, it nearly emotionally, mentally, it took me out the first time this failed. What's going to happen if I can't do this, right? And one of the things that my new boo pointed out to me was, well, when you failed the first time, or he didn't even call it a failure, he just said it was an experience. But, when that happened the first time, you took with you a lot of lessons, a lot of things that you saw that you did wrong, and you can take that and move on to this next phase with that new knowledge, which he's absolutely right. And so that's what I'm kind of working with today. So hopefully you guys see me relaunch these companies, and you guys know what I've been going through and what I've had to put into these, emotionally and mentally, to be able to bring these back out and hopefully is well received, right? So one of the things I have learned from this season in my life is that, listen, unfortunately, you guys, as an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. Like, everything's not going to be perfect. You're going to be working with clients, and every client is different. Every client experience is different depending on the service or the product that you offer. Everything is going to be different. And each time you're going to be learning a new lesson. And you just have to be willing to put yourself in that position to be able to say, hey, am I going to learn from this? If it's a failure, am I going to take everything that I've seen in this situation and move on to the next level? Because honestly, if you don't, you're going to be ending up like I am right now, like unsure what the next step is going to be, because I wasn't willing to take those lessons and move on. I was just sitting in that failure, like, okay, I messed up. I'm just not going to go any further. And that's like the worst place to be as an entrepreneur. So if you're a business owner listening to this, y'all, I really, really encourage you to, listen to your clients and listen to your customers, listen to on social media, get the feedback, look at your analytics on your websites and see what's going on in your business and kind of monitor things. And if it gets to a point where it's difficult or you're having to overcome some type of objection or overcome some type of failure, that you'll think about this podcast and you'll say, hey, maybe I messed up a little bit, but what can I learn from it and how can I move forward? So in conclusion, like, the flip side of failing forward, yes, it sucks. Yes, it can be draining mentally and emotionally, even spiritually, on a spiritual level. Like, it could be very, very draining, but what can you learn from it? What can you get out of this situation? And how can you turn that into a positive? How can you turn that into a positive experience? Or even how can you take that situation and teach other people, like, hey, don't do this. Like, I tried it this way. It didn't work out. I would suggest you not do this moving forward. Like, how can you use that to benefit yourself and others around you? Okay, so that was just a quick episode on the flip side of failing forward, and I hope you really enjoyed it. I am back on a schedule. Hopefully, I'm going to get a couple more episodes out in the next couple of weeks. I will say I'm going to do a couple bonus tracks. So if you are on, I have set up a Patreon. So if you want to sign up for that, I will be putting out ad-free bonus content on that platform. But if not, I would love if you would subscribe. I would love if you would leave a review. All of that, like, all of that's helpful. Y'all know how this podcast thing works, right? So listen, y'all, thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I hope you're doing well. I am signing out from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I will check you on the next episode. Take care.